Do you guys remember when Ethan Klein accused Hassan of paying people to write articles about him, to do stories on him? I'm just gonna say that every accusation is a confession, okay? Because why on November 17th in 2025, literal months after this event took place, did TMZ do an article on the skulls being sent to Ethan and Hila? Not just the skulls. The title of this story is Human Skulls in Mail, Bogus CPS Calls, Exclusive. I guess I don't know what exclusive means because this is a story that's already been talked to death, right? So what's the exclusive? Anyways, I wanted to go through this because I genuinely want to know what they are even talking about. Like, what is this article about? So we're just gonna jump into it. And this does seem to be mostly about Hila. I imagine it has to do with her new makeup line or whatever she's been doing. And that's why it has come up again. But I don't understand why we're bringing up the skulls or the CPS calls or whatever. So anyways, let's just start reading this. H3 podcast host Hila Klein says she's dealing with all sorts of vile threats simply for being Jewish. And she says someone even sent her 2 human skulls in the mail. Now, if you've been paying attention to this, then you know that there's been some speculation about whether or not these skulls were actually sent by somebody trying to harass them. There have been a few different variations of this. Obviously, there's the people who are of the school of thought that Ethan sent them himself. I personally think I go with the other explanation a little bit more, which is that they were sent through some sort of brand deal or something to do with some sort of promotion, and Ethan just kind of forgot, or he decided to make it out as though he had been sent human skulls as a threat. I'm not going to say for sure that I know who sent him the skulls because I don't, but I am inclined to think it was not somebody trying to harass them and that this was a bit of a sleight of hand on Ethan's part, I guess you could say. But it continues. The co-host of the comedy podcast tells TMZ she fears for her safety after 2 human skulls showed up at her office, and cops were called to her home over bogus claims that her children were living in filth. We obtained photos of the human skulls sent to Hila and her husband, Ethan Klein, and it's pretty eerie. Okay. Hila says the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services investigated false claims that her children were crawling around and eating dog poop. I would like to make it very clear, these so-called false claims that their children were eating dog poop directly from Ethan's mouth. I don't know why they like to act like Ethan did not heavily imply that his children were eating shit, but he did. He literally said that the only way you could get Giardia, and whether he was correct or not, obviously people love to point out that Ethan was wrong about this, but it doesn't matter. In that moment, Ethan believes that you can only get Giardia by consuming poop, and he says that his kid might have it. What other conclusion are people meant to come to other than his kid has been contaminated by the poop that has been left out?
So she has Giardia, so we have her on an antibiotic, but we had to wait until Monday, which is today. We just got it today. And well, Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
And now Hila has Giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
What can I do to not get it from
Yeah,
you?
I'm trying
to-
Because I'm not trying to get
Can
it.
we crank
it's-
the AC maybe?
Is it?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
What is the other logical conclusion there? For somebody looking in who has no other context besides what they are seeing. I'm not saying that I support CPS being called to their home because I don't think it was a good idea. I don't think it helped anybody. But I can absolutely understand how this happened, and it is not so insane that it did happen necessarily because Ethan gave everybody all the tools to do it. In fact, she says the skulls were delivered in the mail the same day DCFS went to her home. It's unclear who sent the skulls, and Hila says an anonymous tip was sent to DCFS. I would like to point out, because they will always do this, where they will say that, so-and-so called CPS, right? They've blamed Denims, they've blamed Bad Empanada, they've blamed Hassan's community, they've blamed so many people. When it first happened, Ethan said he was told that somebody they knew made the call. I'm not saying he was right. I'm not even saying that he was necessarily telling the truth. But why should I believe everything else Ethan says and disregard that piece of it? If I am to believe Ethan, which I imagine he wants me to believe him, then he knows that the people who made the call had nothing to do with the people online. But that's really inconvenient for his overall narrative, for the overall position he's trying to push, right? Hila says it's been draining on her mental health, and she recently bought a gun and is applying for concealed carry permit, no easy feat in LA County. I don't necessarily think that you should have a gun in your home, especially if you have children. I can only hope that they are doing everything they are supposed to do with their guns and locking them up so that their children have no access to them. I have no reason to believe that they aren't, so I'll just assume for now that they are responsible gun owners, and we'll leave it at that. And now we're getting into the makeup part. On top of it all, Hila's new makeup brand, Teddy Glow, had some drama within hours of its recent launch after some of the campaign team, including a model, I believe this is supposed to say, and a makeup artist. So TMZ, great job at proofreading your articles, including a model and a makeup artist, publicly severed ties, citing Hila's public pro-Israel stance as the reason, leading to online backlash on both sides. Hila says she's more determined than ever to speak up for her Jewish heritage, and she won't let threats and painful comments stop her. Okay, so obviously we have Hila basically playing the victim. She's trying to make it out like everybody is anti-Semitic. I don't think TMZ just naturally decided to write this article after months of this having happened. I do believe that Ethan and Hila probably manufactured this in some way. I don't know if they paid money for it, but I imagine they at least had some hand in it. Obviously, it has nothing to do with Hila being Jewish and everything to do with her support of Israel. And when I say her support of Israel, I don't mean that she supports Netanyahu. I don't mean that she even necessarily supports the genocide, although I don't think that she necessarily is completely against it. Hila is Islamophobic. Look at her Instagram stories, look at the things she says. She says it in a way that is acceptable in the West, obviously, but for example, when she posted that picture of the Israeli drone pilot or whatever, and was celebrating, oh, it's a woman drone pilot, and you can't even be a woman drone pilot in Iran, or whatever it was, that was Islamophobic. Hila presented this in a very specific way in order to paint a specific view, in order to paint a specific picture. She does this quite a bit. It is something that a lot of Islamophobic people do. But either way, she's Islamophobic. And she still supports Israel. I have never once heard Hila say that she thinks the creation of Israel was wrong. I think that she can say that. I think that she should say that. I don't think it necessarily means that she wants Israel to stop existing now. I have my personal opinions on that, but whatever. She is entitled to hers. It does not necessarily mean that she thinks Israel should go away or that she thinks that all of the Israelis should be relocated or anything like that. It is just simply acknowledging that it was wrong for Israel to be created, that Israel, from its very inception, has been oppressing the Palestinians, has been killing the Palestinians. I want to hear Hila say that. I don't want to hear her say she doesn't support the government, she doesn't support Netanyahu. I want to hear her acknowledge the deep-rooted issues in Israeli society. She won't do that because she can't. She's a coward. Or she doesn't care. Or it's both. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. She'll never do that. And I do believe that as long as she never does that, as long as she tries to toe this line of, oh, I'm critical of Israel, but I still support Israel. I still think Israel is better than the other nations in the region. I still think Israel is the superior power here. I think Israel is the superior entity. As long as she operates with that framing, with that view, people will continue to call her out. People will continue to say stuff because she will continue to say Islamophobic shit. That is basically all I had for this video. I did just want to discuss this a little bit because I had wanted to talk about Ethan and Hila and everything going on with them, but I don't really love making videos about them. If you'd like me to do a video talking about the Cruel World Happy Mind situation and all of that stuff, I can. Just let me know, because I was working on one and I do have some thoughts about that. But I did want to talk about this TMZ article because it is very clear to me that Ethan and Hila paid for this. And it's very funny when they accuse Hassan of paying for articles about him. You know? That's it. If you liked this video, please do me a favor and give the video a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and hit that subscribe button while you're down there. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. I'm trying to hit 200 subscribers by the end of November, and it's probably not gonna happen, but I'd like to see how close I can get. So if you'd like to help me out with that, please do hit that subscribe button, and other than that, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching and making it this far. Please take care of yourself. Free Palestine, free Sudan, and goodbye.